Welcome to the world's absolute worst utility van. For the love of God, people, please stop buying these. Let's find out why. Let's get started. This is a 2017 Mercedes Metris van. And before I go any further, a lot of you are going to comment, say, Wizard, we already knew that. Those things are trash. I know that for a fact because we filmed one of these not too long ago, and there's a link in the description if you want to go watch it, where Magic Mike, who used to work here, actually worked on it, and he said it was the most terrible Mercedes experience he's ever had in his life. And he's worked on a lot of Mercedes. Every time we've brought one of these into the shop, the bill is always over $5,000. Always. There's so many cheap plasticky things we're going to show you today that break on these. And everything is $500, $1,000, $2,000, $1,200 for the parts. It's a Mercedes-Benz. It's not a Hyundai or a Ford or a Chevy. Let's take a look around this Metris van. This customer uses it for their line of work that they do, and I feel really sad for them, but they've kind of got screwed by buying a Metris. I wish they wouldn't have. Let's take a look. Here's the front of this Metris van. It looks familiar, Mrs. Wizard.
Yeah, I would think it is. That's what our mailman delivers our mail in.
There's a lot of these in the Postal Service, and I really feel for them for buying those. It's a terrible idea. As you can see, the front is all plastic. The grille is plastic. Plastic, plastic. The name of today's video is plastic. And then the mirror is plastic. And the door handle for the driver's door is currently broken. You can't even get in because it's plastic. This is a utility van, people. It's supposed to hold up to abuse of industry. You see where the glass is etched on this back window? It's because this window motor, the wiper motor, is currently broken. You can hear it flopping around in there. The pieces inside are all broken. And of course that's going to be expensive. We got plastic here on the sides, plastic here on our little ledge, and the bumper is also plastic. On this side we do have a sliding door, and thank God they didn't make it electric like a Caravan or something. Any of the vans that have those power sliding doors, they always break, it seems like. When we get it open up, we can see a lot more plastic pieces in the interior. There's a plastic shell, plastic floor. It doesn't seem very heavy duty. It doesn't seem it really was designed, or they have the idea in mind that these doors are going to be opened over and over and over because they're in the service industry. They're trying to repair people's houses or cars or different things they do, paint people's houses. They made it as cheap and as plasticky as possible, and it shows because these things don't last. You guys aren't going to believe the amount of plastic that's even under the hood. Here we have a giant plastic air cleaner, tons of plastic ducts, and I'm not too surprised about that, but when we go over to the intake manifold, you can see it's also made of plastic. A lot of these sensors and things and hoses are all plastic lines. And then our oil filter, which is very inconveniently placed underneath the air cleaner, which you have to take stuff apart to even get to it. The housing of it is even plastic. So I know you guys think out there, most modern cars anymore are filled with plastic. We've all talked about it on the channel before, plastic oil pans and plastic. I'm surprised they don't have plastic crankcases or plastic cylinder heads now. Who knows, they probably will soon. But this isn't a car. This is supposed to be a utility work van, which should be built a little bit better to handle the abuse of constant day-to-day opening and closing door, all the different things we just talked about. This is made with bottom-of-the-barrel C-Class parts. This engine is a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder. It's one you see in a C300 or various other different models all across the Mercedes range of cars. And as you can imagine, it has a check engine light on. Why would you think so? Because of this crankcase vent assembly that's all part of this giant conglomeration. I'll show you a picture here. When you go to buy the part that's bad, they say, no, you can't buy just the part, you have to buy the entire assembly. It's a hose and various valves and all kinds of different things in one big assembly. And no, it's not 50 bucks. It can be $1,000 in some places. Some places are $600 or $800, some are $1,000 if you want to get the OEM. Now there are some Chinese ones out there that are like 200 bucks. We're not going that route on one of these cars. OEM is very expensive. So that's kind of what's wrong under the hood here. Everything else seems to be doing okay. I just wish it wasn't so much plastic. But Mrs. Wizard's going to give you guys an interior tour, and inside of there is more things wrong. It's more plastic.
I know, you should be in absolute shock. It has 99,760 miles on this thing. Yeah, that's a little bit of miles, but not crazy amounts. Not to have that's needing thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of repairs. Well, you can see it's dusty up there, and you're going to see more dust in here because this is, again, a work truck. So move up, the dash is in good shape. It is needing a good bath, but other than that, it's not cracked, not torn. It is, plastic, as we can see. Have cup holders, map holders, and such up there. So move down, we have a spot where, you know, it can hold things. They keep their napkins in there. Lots of black and black and more black on black. But here we can see we've got very simple controls for that HVAC system. We have an aux port and a USB charging spot there as well. As we move down, you'll see we have a very large cup holder again for right here. They do take care of some of the creature comforts in these work vans. As we move down, you'll see we don't have, you know, gear selectors and things like that where we'd normally see in a car, because this is a van, and we can see they've got some paint rollers, some, you know, other utility items that they're needing. And hey, they look to be a coin collector, so maybe I'm wishing them luck. Maybe they'll find that, you know, one rare coin and help them out get out of this horrible car. The seats they look to be in very good shape. They are looking rather rugged. They have armrests that fold up, and they are cloth, and the cloth seems to be very industrial in strength. So that is one plus so far for this interior space. Door card, lots of more plastic, and plastic, and behind that plastic is, well, door handles on the outside that break because of plastic. And there's our view from the back. Yeah, you can kind of see my reflection in there. You can kind of see something back there through that window back there, but yeah, not much going on because again, it's dusty and dirty, and it's plastic. Yeah, plastic separating you and from what's back behind. That would be really scary. If this was an accident and there was a big item back there, could easily come flying through and hit the passenger and the driver in the cab area. That's really scary. As we get to our steering wheel, we have our lovely Mercedes symbol in that center section with some controls on this side. So other than, you know, lots of more plastic in here and needing a good bath, the interior is doing okay, but I'm really curious what's going on underneath. Let's get this up in the air and see what it looks like underneath.
So the customer brought this in with a check engine light for an emissions code, which turned out to be that convoluted valve assembly I just showed you. We also found some codes going on with the oil pump control valve. They had complaints about their door handle. They wanted some services done. They also wanted that wiper motor in the back replaced and various other things. There was a long list, guys, but I'm kind of hitting on the big items. One thing that's right here where the oil pan has to come off, which we can't really see it right now. We don't have the panel off, but there's an oil control valve, which is very common on these engines to fail. Replace the valve and the harness when you get it all apart. That's another thing to add to the bill. Keep in mind, as I'm adding these things up, they're not $200 or $300. Each of these things I'm saying are over $1,000. And you start adding it up, it adds up fast. Let's take a look around at the suspension and everything else. Again, I don't see any leaks going on, which is good. Our brakes are about 20% remaining. Struts are not blown. Sway bar links are good. Nothing loose there, but these tires are getting pretty thin. 20% on the brakes, the struts are good, sway bar link is good, nothing loose here, and this tire is even worse. It's starting to get down to almost bald. So up here you can actually see into the engine bay. We can see the turbo and the arm for the motor mount and several other things. We don't see any major leaks going on. But it reminds me of a story. When Magic Mike used to work here, he's now has his own shop and I really applaud him for it. He's moved on to that. But he was over here putting one of those kind of like tube valve assembly I just showed you. It took him all day to get it done. He was cursing. He was so angry and so mad. I don't blame him. All that stuff is all wrapped up all in through there, and there's a major teardown just to get that stuff out and replace it all. He actually told me at the time, he's like, please no more of these, Wizard. This is terrible. And I don't blame him. But on the back of our transmission, you can see that the flex disc is in good shape for 100,000 miles, so that's good. Our charcoal canister appears to be in good shape. It's not cracked or anything. There's no codes for it. It's a good place there for if you need to replace it. It's easy to get this apart, so that's good. Here our carrier bearing is in good shape. Here's more plastic, our plastic gas tank. We have our exhaust, everything's intact. And we come back to our rear differential. The flex disc here doesn't have any cracks in it, appears to be in good shape. It has this big torque arm that bolts to the body there. Nothing leaking from that. Let's check out our back wheels. Brakes are about half gone. CV boots are good. Shocks are not blown out. Nothing is loose. And our tires are very, very worn on here as well on this side. Spare tire has air. Brakes are 50%. Shocks are not blown. Our CV boots are in good shape. Nothing loose. So everything appears good on this side as well.
Well, Wizard, so at least their way over engineered suspension system is doing well and not breaking.
Amazingly, it's in good shape, you're right. So 100,000 miles, it still looks fine, it's not leaking. All the problems are all the little plastic gizmos and gadgets that break. And there's even more. Just wait, there's more. Let's get this thing on the ground. Just wait, there's more. There's always more. The steering angle sensor, or also called the clock spring on this, has failed. The customer was concerned about a wheel speed sensor, and this is another issue I talk about with many of my videos. Is as a shop owner or a technician, you have to be very careful about what the customer writes, because sometimes, which I don't think so in this case, but you have to be careful of what I call wishful thinking. My check engine light is on. I think it's just an auction sensor. It rarely ever is an auction sensor. They're just hoping to keep the bill cheap. They're hoping maybe that's what it is. Let's try that. But then you get in there and find out it has nothing to do with that. It's something way more expensive. They're like, darn, I was hoping for that. So what they write on the paper, sometimes you have to just put the blinders on and be like, I didn't read that. I'm going to find out what is really wrong with it. Then we'll talk prices. We're not going to insinuate what we hope is wrong. So he was kind of thinking the wheel speed sensor, maybe it needs to be replaced. It has a code for that. In fact, the steering angle sensor is bad. And again, more plastic. It's plastic and it's broken. So all these things I talked about, the oil control valve, there's that whole crankcase vent assembly, tube pipe giant thing that's a massive pain to change out. Then there's a steering angle sensor. Then there's all the fluids they wanted serviced. There's a plastic door handle that's broken. There's the wiper motor that's broken. And you start adding up 500, 700, 1,000, 600, and you start adding this stuff up, you're at $5,000 or $6,000. And when you're a small business owner, things are already so expensive out there. It's hard to make a living for anyone out there right now. The last thing this guy needs is a $6,000 repair bill on his van so he can keep going. It currently runs and drives fine, but we did call him and give him the bad news, the whole long list of everything that's wrong, and we went through it piece by piece and showed how it added up to $5,000 or $6,000. His response was, I'm going to have to call you back. I may not do any of it. I may see about getting rid of this van. He said, I'm seeing the writing on the wall here. I don't think I want to go down that road. I might be looking into something else. So what else can you buy? If you're looking at getting a small utility van, again, do not buy a Mercedes Metris. Look for a Ram ProMaster or a Ford Transit Connect. They're not the best in the world, but they're better than this. There's tons of small utility vans out there to look at that is not this. Don't get one of these. In order to keep running and driving and to get his work done, does any of these repairs absolutely have to be done right now? No. And that's where you can get in trouble at some shops who will try to scare you into saying, you have to fix this now. We don't play that game here. I know better. He doesn't have to fix any of this. He can still drive down the road. The oil control valve is having some issues, but oil pressure is still good. We're tested and it's doing just fine. But really, I agree with the customer on this one. I myself would refuse to put $5,000 or $6,000 into this van. I wouldn't. I would go put that money into something newer that's in better shape with less miles and sell this for what I can get out of it. It's just the harsh reality of these. I talked to a couple of guys that used to work here. They're still friends with him. There's Grimes. You guys remember him. He went on to move on to do a different venture. No, we have no animosity amongst any of us. I talked to him and I mentioned we had the Metris van, and the first thing he said was, "Oh God." He goes, "I'm sorry for that customer." I agree with Grimes on that. It's terrible. I talked to Magic Mike. He said, "I've already been there. I've worked on that before. No, thank you." And tell the customer, "You probably shouldn't have bought this car." I also talked to Cameron from DC Motor Works in Atlanta. All three of these people, by the way, are Mercedes certified technicians. And they all three said, hell no, do not buy the Mercedes Metris van. They're absolute trash. I feel sorry for this customer. I really wish there was some way around or some way we could make it cheaper, but there really isn't. Very likely he's going to turn down all the work, and I'm not mad. I totally get it. It really makes me sad. I'm a Mercedes guy. I've owned a ton of different Mercedes vehicles. I've always been happy with them. I really like Mercedes-Benz, but not these. I know I keep beating a dead horse here, but I'm going to say it one more time. Do not buy a Mercedes Metris. You say, well, I found this on Marketplace. It's really cheap. It won't be when you get this kind of a bill. And then you'll be pulling your hair, which I don't have any, fortunately. You're going to be pulling your hair going, what do I do now? I have this small business I'm trying to run. I don't have this money right now. That's the last thing this guy needs right now. It really sucks. It really does. So if you're curious what kind of tools we may get to use to work on this or any other cars in the shop, check our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. A lot of the tools we use in the shop are for sale there, and we get a small cut if you purchase any of them. We really appreciate it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button because we have so many more cool videos to come. Thanks for watching.